Hello YouTube and fellow Star Wars collectors! On this episode of Toys Are the Way, we'll be taking a look at a character from the second wave of vintage collection figures for 2025, Dr. Evazan from Star Wars A New Hope. Welcome back, gang and channel members. So here we have another addition to our vintage collection shelf displays in preparation of that HasLab Cantina, which should be shipping out sometime in the distant future. And this time it is Dr. Evazan from A New Hope. Now this is a TVC 1.0 figure that they have opted to repack in, support of that Cantina. Unfortunately, not much has changed here when it comes to this figure. It still has swivel hips, and if any of you know how I like to pose figures and just how I interact with my action figures in general, swivel hips are definitely not the way. But with all that being said and done, don't forget to smash a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, or even become a channel member, and let's take a closer look at the packaging and figure. Taking a look at our vintage style packaging, we have the Star Wars Racetrack and Hildebrandt logo nicely displayed, followed by Dr. Evazan on a red name pill color. We have a fantastic image of the character taken directly from A New Hope, looking really good in the cantina and about to cause some ruckus. With the Kenner logo down below, all things looking really nice on this card. Additionally, we have a decent looking figure on a bubble. On the back, he is VC57 in the line, Dr. Evazan, and we have a small description of the character, followed by the Vintage Collection logo, and additional images of the card and figure. So while this is not my favorite repack in general, I am actually a little grateful to have this one on card. I had the original TVC 1.0 figure, and I never had a carded sample, so this is something that's going to be nice for my A New Hope display. Taking a look at Dr. Evazan out of the packaging and focusing on the photoreal and portrait, I think they've done a pretty decent job here with this old head sculpt. The photoreal does help, and the paint applications on the hair are actually pretty nice. It gets a lot of that detail in there and just helps accent his white hairs and all that stuff. You can also see they have a little photoreal here on the chest hair, which is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. But let's bring in the other figure from the TVC 1.0 release, and you can see, they're the same head sculpt, but yeah, I think they've, kind of upgraded it. I do have the old variant that doesn't have the actual paint on the scar, so it's nice that I'm actually getting that into my collection. But other than that, not much difference is going on here. I think the hair does look better, and sure, you could say the photoreal chest hair is an improvement, but other than that, not drastically different in terms of, the quality or like an upgrade on this figure. Moving on to the articulation, Dr. Evazan does not have a lot of what I'm looking for on my modern vintage collection figures in 2025. He unfortunately still has swivel hips, which I personally think are absolutely unacceptable these days, especially when we're paying a higher price point for some of these figures. And yeah, sure, he goes for, pretty high dollar on the aftermarket, and if you're new to collecting, maybe this is one that you really wanted for your cantina, but I really would like to see them do something better with these older figures. They need some type of adapter that plugs into these old torsos, and then they can use pre-existing new hips on some of these figures. So something like Jad Na would have been great. I think he has pretty decent lower legs and boots. It's pretty simple. They were going to use those on RLL shoes anyway, and I think that could have been a decent kit bash to make this a little bit more acceptable in my opinion. But moving on, yeah, he's got swivel hips. He does have a hinge at the knee, which is pretty good. It goes at 90. Unfortunately, just a hinge at the ankle, so no rockers there, but he can't really do too many dynamic poses to begin with. And then he only has a swivel at the torso, so you're not going to get any other movement out of there. He's got hinges at the shoulders and, in his elbows, which is okay. No hinged wrists, unfortunately, just a swivel, but he does look pretty decent with the blaster pistol. He's got some pretty decent head articulation. It can tilt and rotate, so that's okay. Holds the blaster pretty well. And you also have a soft plastic holster, which you're able to put that into, so you won't be losing this blaster anytime soon. So stays pretty snug and not too bad. Also, a little unfortunate that, his vest is just sculpted on there. These days, we see that as a separate piece, so that's nice for customs. And yeah, I just personally think this character could have used an update. But like I said, I guess it's good if you didn't have this one and you want to add it to your cantina, but so many limitations, and for somebody like me who likes to pose these figures, take action figure photography of them, this is just not really a fun one. And one last quick comparison of Dr. Evazan compared to the previous TVC 1.0 version here on the left. You can see that they're basically the same figure. Not much is going on, so if you already have this one open in your collection, you probably don't need to pick up another opener of this, unless you really want to get some photoreal hair on his chest and that scar, depending if you have the scar version or not. But yeah, definitely not one that you need to go out there and pick up. Sadly, Dr. Evazan is one of the weakest repacks in recent years and really takes the vintage collection a step back in terms of articulation and just overall quality. When it comes to the quote-unquote action figure posing, the Doctor doesn't have much to offer in terms of dynamic stances or battle poses, which totally makes sense why he got slaughtered in the cantina. Once again, it's nice to see this figure repacked for fans who still need to add him to their collection, and I certainly wanted another shot at a carded sample, so I can't be too disappointed. The character sports the horribly outdated swivel hips, hinges at the knees, elbows, and ankles, and lastly, swivels at the wrist and torso, which are all definitely a buzzkill when interacting with this figure. TVC in 2025 definitely deserves better in my opinion. I hope you've enjoyed this video and taking a look at this latest addition to our vintage collection shelf displays, Dr. Evazan from Star Wars: A New Hope. Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And don't forget to drop a like on this video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. It really helps and is always greatly appreciated. Thanks everyone, and may the Force be with you.